It's Kirby Lozano with 97.9 The Beats, and we got another episode of In El Barrio, where we showcase different Latine and Latine-owned businesses in the DFW doing the dang thing. And I've already said I'm like super excited. I'm going to have to control myself from talking so much because I'm here with a true Latina inspiration, Dominican queen, real estate developer, content creator, podcaster, creative director, actress, model, singer, community builder, health advocate, daughter, sister, wife, dog mom, first gen American, New York born, DFW raised. You might have seen her on the Real Talk Show or maybe NBC5. You might have known her as Thalia E. Fitz. You might have known her as your apartment bestie, definitely the creator of the PCOS Baddies Club, and one of the newest artists of the Mavens Records that's based out of here in Dallas, Texas, the Thalia Leblanc. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, what an introduction. You did your research.
Girl, well, first off, again, I'm not going to waste nobody's time because you are the one who's doing all this. I'm just over here like, let me keep up. I'm sure I missed something in there because, again, Superwoman is literally right in front of me.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for being here because your accolades are just growing by the minute. So around here, again, it's in El Barrio, and I really like to help. First off, people understand that there's so many different types of Latino cultures.
Yes.
So I always am like, we have to start with the roots. Okay, going back to your roots, how you were born and raised. Again, you are a Dominicana, but
Yes.
you're New York born. So I feel like in your journey throughout life, do you feel like you're more molded by being like a Dominicana, or do you feel like it's like that's the New York hustle in me, baby? Like, what do you feel like is more down for you and how you get through it?
Oh my gosh, of course my dog wants to bark.
Please. That's okay.
Please, I'm on the freaking radio.
You're good. Hey, he said, I'm in this too. You'll see me on the videos too.
Oh my gosh. I knew he was going to bark right when we started recording. But anyway.
You're good.
My husband always makes fun of me for this because I'm like, I'm from New York. And he was like, you were there for like a hot second. I really was raised more in the Dominican Republic more than he's like, you were born in New York, but the umbilical cord was cut in the Dominican Republic. Like, chill. He's always making fun of me for that, but I think I definitely have a stronger Dominican culture in me because even in New York, when we lived there, like in New York, there's like in the boroughs, there's different pockets of people, and wherever you live, there's going to be a lot of those same people. So I lived around a lot of Dominicans, a lot of Puerto Ricans, Cubans. So it was like a really big, strong Latin community. So I feel like the Dominican in me has always been stronger than everywhere else.
Yeah. What do you feel like you do throughout, like anything you do stuff? Like, how do you feel like, oh, that's the Dominican me? Like, what is the thing that you're like, that every time it always, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what career, like, oh, that's the Dominican in me?
Girl, okay, this is like super like TMI, but this is something that I think if you're Dominican, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Okay. Whenever you wake up in the morning and like you just want to like make sure you're refreshed and stuff, we always keep like, we call it like una vacinilla. And in the vacinilla, you basically like wash yourself. You wash yourself when you just want to feel like a quick midday freshness. You just wash yourself. And and you keep a little like bucket next to the top.
Girl, that's called a hoe bath. Girl, that's what y'all are doing. Stop.
I'm just keeping it real. I'm just telling you.
Yo, but I'm not mad at though, because y'all have some of the most gorgeous people. So clearly it's working for y'all. Y'all keeping it together, looking clean, looking good as hell doing it. So I'm not mad at y'all's little hoe baths on the side. I love it. Por la cultura. Yes. I love it so much. Iconic. So I need the Dominicans to tap in below and see if it's a fact or not.
It's
true. It's true. Okay, so I was gonna say, so another thing again, with you being a first gen overall, your parents, obviously, there's always a huge molding from your parents whenever you are a first generation. I do want to acknowledge and send my sincere condolences because I know a couple of years ago, your father, who was a doctor, did unfortunately lose his battle during the pandemic. And then I think your mom, she moved back to the Dominican Republic as well. Am I correct?
She did. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes. But again, with that, you kind of having the responsibilities for one, starting as a good example as an Americanized version for your family, but then also still being relatively young and losing a parent, as well as in the physical form, as well as in the distance form. How do you feel like those two things kind of affected your trajectory and maybe making that switch from career fields like you did? Because it kind of happened like around the same time period as well.
It did, yeah. I think as an eldest daughter, first gen immigrant parents, like you have this like responsibility that you have to make sure that, you know, you're reading legal documents and signing stuff and just doing so much when I was like 11 years old. And, you know, it just, I feel like it made me a lot more mature a lot sooner than I probably would have been. But I'm really grateful because it's made me very career minded. It's made me business forward. I'm super responsible. I try to do everything like as it should be done. And then,
Yes.
whenever I lost my dad, I was just like, oh my gosh, life is so short. Like, I need to like go for my dreams. I need to just do this thing and stop holding out on myself because I'm trying to do the right things and be responsible. I was like, you know what? I've already done this for so long. Like, I want to do the thing that like I have a passion for. And that's whenever I just went full fledged on social media, in my music and all of that. So I think it was definitely a catalyst to just pursue my dreams.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, and with your mom being back in the Dominican, like, what is that relationship like? How is that affected with that distance being there? Because I mean,
Yeah.
we gotta have our mommies, you know what I mean? Like, what is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I actually think we are closer now that she's over there because it's like a, you know, like whenever you're with your parent all the time, sometimes you're just like, oh, I see you all the time, whatever. But whenever they're far away, you almost appreciate the conversations more. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? So, and she's become so much more supportive. Growing up, she was like, you're going to go to school, you're going to get a degree, you're going to do all these things. And now she was like, Thalia, you're not posting enough videos about your song. You got to like show to people, like, o sea, ponte en función. And I was like, okay. I was like,
Yes,
okay, manager.
mommy. Yes, I love that. Those are honestly like some of my favorite stories, especially for first gen. Like I will be acknowledging, like I'm puro chicana, like I've been here like 4 generations, but like for all of my first gen friends, like no matter where the people are from, like whenever they are able to like start really being themselves, and their parents be like, "Oh, but you're making it work for you," like, and that
Yeah.
support is like unparalleled level. Like I can vouch, like I've seen it. That's
Yeah.
amazing, and shout out to mommy for that. Love her.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing I again, just to kind of again, you being a Latina, and you kind of already touched base with it as well, because you're also the first gen, you're also the eldest daughter. There is a lot of expectations. It's super commonplace for us to be kind of self-sacrificing for the
Yes.
most part, always kind of put others' priorities before ourselves. And I feel like, as far as from a viewer's perspective, one of the times that you were able to kind of start acknowledging that and making those transition was your transition that you made from being the apartment bestie to the PCOS baddie. Um,
Yes.
and how do you feel like, as an overall, like as a woman, how did that affect your self-esteem? Because even though you're like kind of being a little bit more like vulnerable, you're still actually
Yeah.
putting yourself first. So what did that do for you and your self-esteem?
Yeah, so whenever I was apartment bestie, it was like I gave up a sure thing to pursue the thing that I really wanted to do. So like I knew, you know, when I was getting on the real, I was getting opportunities for being apartment bestie because that's what I had blown up for on TikTok. I was just like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to talk about freaking apartments every day. I was working as a leasing agent all day, every day, and then getting home to make content that was about apartments as well. And I was just like, this isn't what I want. So I
Right.
gave up. I was getting 7 million views, 10 million. I mean, my videos were going crazy. And I was just like, I'm going to have to put a pause in this because I really want to talk about this kind of dirty secret that I've had for the longest time, which was having PCOS. And I just wanted to see like if there were other women out there like me that were struggling with this thing. And they were, and it was received so well. And so many women felt seen. My videos were doing numbers. And I was like, wow, like this is giving me purpose to like pursue the things that I want to pursue while also being a beacon of like hope or maybe inspiration for women that are dealing with the weight, the facial hair, the body image issues, all this stuff that like when you're putting yourself out there, you're constantly thinking about how am I going to be perceived? How am I
Yes.
like, are people going to think this is gross? Like, how are they going to react? So I was just like, you know what? F it. Like, you're going to be the PCOS baddie and you're going to pursue all the things that you want to pursue. And you're going to show people that you can do it. And that none of this stuff, this is just frivolous. Like, whatever, like you got it. And I think it's paying off. So it's done wonders for my confidence.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was gonna say, I mean, just on a side note, because I have one of my, I call her my soul prima, but like she was actually my apartment, like she was my property, like they're like over management, over everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I just, from seeing aside, people will come and yell and curse you out, and you're just literally living your life. So I can only imagine on the back
Girl.
trying to help these people on both ends, and y'all are all ungrateful. So then I'm sure that only exacerbated your PCOS because, as a side note, I'm one of those people. I have PCOS, but I'm in complete denial. And so I'm getting older. So like my 30-year-old hit, and I was like, deny what, bitch? So excuse the language, but I'm just saying. So I think, even more so to acknowledge boundaries, for you to uphold for yourself, but also for you to
Right.
acknowledge, like, I really don't deserve this. And, even if it is, again, a little bit intimidating because you got
Yeah.
all of your insecurities on the interweb,
Yeah.
to be able to do that, because again, you had to, you are whipping people like me into shape when I'm like, oh, yeah, she's true. That's right. I am kind of struggling with those kinds of things.
Girl, I was in the trenches working as a leasing agent. Eventually, I had worked myself to a manager, and I was doing evictions during COVID. It was hurting my heart. So I was like, this is not for me. I got to leave this. Like, I just cannot do this no more. And then
Right.
to switch gears to like, I'm going to show the world all the things that I've hidden, even from, I would go to sleep sometimes with my makeup on if I was like with friends or with a significant other or whatever, because I was so ashamed of like the hair and all
Mm.
this stuff. And I really believe that whenever you put your insecurities out there before people can point them out, they'll never be able to use them against you. So it's like, you can't say that I have a little belly or that, I grow facial hair or that I have stretch marks, whatever. Like, I'm human and I've already put that out there. So you can't really tell me nothing.
Exactly, exactly. And even more importantly, something that you were able to curate because of that is a
Yeah.
beautiful community of like-minded women, which Latinos, we're all about culture, all about community. Like, it's
Right.
always a everybody's on board kind of thing. But obviously, transitioning to a health perspective, I'm sure you have all kinds of people that reach out from all over the world, which
Yes.
is something to absolutely proud of. And I'm so grateful that you're doing. With that also being said, you've also recently kind of posted a video specifically for artists out there, because if you are an artist and you want to be seen for your art form, it's really hard to get out of a situation where maybe people are coming to you for information and information
Yes.
only, and not feel like, again, not appreciated.
Right.
So for you, what did you have to tell yourself? Because again, you already made that such a huge jump of like, okay, cool. Like, y'all not finna young curse me out all the day long. I'm gonna be honest with myself and be confident in my truth. But at the same time, my real truth is I am an artist and I want to
Right.
just be creative all day long. So what
Right.
did you have to tell yourself to like build that part up to make that transition?
So I basically had to separate myself and the PCOS Baddie Club. It's kind of like I've been shedding layers since I've blown up on social media. First, I blew up because of an accidental reason. I was just doing the apartment videos. So that was the first layer. Okay, I need to be true to myself and talk about PCOS. But PCOS is my chronic condition. I'm going to have this for the rest of my life. But I am not PCOS, and I am not the poster child for PCOS.
Yeah.
PCOS looks like so many different things, and I want it to be community facing more than Thalia facing. I
Right.
want, when you think about Thalia Leblanc, I want you to think of an artist that is vulnerable with the world and shows, very transparently the things that I go through, like in and out or whatever. But I had to separate that and create a business and a community with PCOS Baddie Club. So I made it its own page. It's thriving. It's doing well. It's relatable. It's funny. It's raw and real. And I don't just post myself on there. I post other creatives that are doing PCOS content, other people within the community that tag us and use our hashtag. We do giveaways all the time. We donate to the PCOS Awareness Association, and we're just trying to like elevate PCOS in a way that it's community facing. So that's that. And then I
Yes.
just focus my page on doing what I love and what I do, which is music and being an entertainer. So
Yeah.
it was just separating the two. And once I did, I felt so much better, and I feel like
Yeah.
PCOS is getting the justice that it deserves and the spotlight that it deserves, and I feel like I'm getting my shine separately. And of course, I'll always talk about it, but it's not going to be
Mhm.
like, I'm not an expert. Like, do not ask me for
Yeah.
medication you should take.
Go to a doctor, please.
I did
Literally.
not follow in my father's footsteps. That is not
Yeah.
me.
Sorry about that. No, that's valid. And even more so, again, what's impressive to me is because maybe it's like the New Yorker or the Latino, I don't know what it is, but like you have like 80 jobs. I feel like I do, because you're, again,
Yeah.
you're a wife, and y'all have your own podcast, you have your own brand with your husband, y'all do real estate development. How
Right.
in the hell are you still like, you have energy because you have a medical condition? Do you have the energy to do all of this? Like, what keeps that movement for you? How do you keep it, the motivation to keep doing it every day?
Honestly, I just want to win so bad. I can't even tell you. Like, I'm just such a hustler at heart.
Yeah.
And I think whenever you come into this country and you come for the American dream and you see your parents sacrifice a whole lot and you sacrifice a whole lot, and you're just like, wow, like, I've never known anything more. So, like, or anything other than hustling and really just trying to make it work. And sometimes as a creative, you know that the thing that you have the most passion about normally doesn't really pay you enough to stay afloat. So you have to have 20 million other jobs, you know,
Yeah.
to make
Absolutely. In this economy, girl, girl.
girl. And sometimes you just want to like just try stuff to see like, oh, maybe I like this, or okay, well, I didn't. At least I can say I tried it and I didn't like it, or it just didn't pan out the way that I thought, and now I'm gonna do something else. Like, that's all.
Honestly, and that kind of leads me to the next part. So I feel like we're like super prideful Latinos,
Yeah.
genuinely. Like we don't like to talk about it too much, but
Yeah.
like it is. And so I think that you had, I think at one point you said something about like to stop, like be set free from your overthinking,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And
Yes.
being a lot more candid about that journey for you. Like our brain is usually the hardest part that keeps us from doing it
Mm-hmm.
outside of the cultural of the expectations, again, because
Right.
the pride, what if I lose? What if I fail in front of people?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
how did you silence your overthinking?
I think that once you do one thing and like that one scary thing and you see that it kind of worked out, it kind of like just gives you that confidence to try other things and see if it works out and other things. I feel like there's so much power in finishing. When you
Mm.
finish one thing, it just gives you that confidence to try the next thing. So another thing is y'all don't pay my bills.
Oof,
So
oof,
I can't think about people that don't pay my bills. So I'm just like,
period.
people would make fun of me and like may put me in group chats and talk about me. I don't give a damn, to be honest with you. Like at the end of the
Yeah,
day, I'm getting paid thousands of dollars for a 15-second video because I decided to put myself out there. And I want this for all of us, but not everybody
yeah,
has the balls and the guts to put themselves out in front of the world, fail in front of the world, be cringe in front of the world, do all this stuff. Because
yeah.
I'm sure people have talked about me or whatever. And again, I don't give a damn times two.
You're right.
Like,
No,
so,
no, let them know in case you forgot the first go around. Still don't care.
I really, really don't. And I think once you start reaping the benefits of putting yourself out there, the noise just gets further and further away. You're just like, I don't care about y'all.
Literally, literally. And I think that, and for me, it's also awesome because again, similarly, I wasn't on the stage, but in high school I did theater tech, so I built the sets and I did the lights and stuff like that, which was
Love.
like I ended up using it more in my day to day for my career than what I actually got my degree in. But that's a side note. So for you though, you went from Rowlett High School 2010 scandal for a musical
Yeah.
to this last July 2024, you had your first ever music video shoot for just you, which is
Yeah.
huge. So
Yeah.
who did you call to make that transition? Like, okay, I'm done playing. I'm ready to get back behind a microphone. Who'd you call?
Man, shoot, I called Riff at the Mavens. Like
Yes.
it's what you know what it is. Life is so crazy. You have no idea what's gonna happen. So whenever I worked at a leasing the leasing office, which
Mhm.
sidebar is where I met my husband too. I met so many people in that building. Like
Love it.
he came in looking for an apartment. He left with a wife. But anyway,
I'm crying. Now that's a 2-for-1 special. Period.
okay. He got 6 weeks free, a wife, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, you ain't getting like that nowadays. Sorry.
Not at all. I
Love
gave him a
that.
good deal.
Girl, when the
But
book comes out, I'm gonna buy it. Okay, keep going.
period. When Riff came in with one of his artists years ago in like
Mhm.
2018, he came in looking for an apartment for one of his artists that he was putting up in West Dallas. And
Okay.
the artist was Trinidad Cardona. And he just came in and he was like, okay, whatever. We got him an apartment. He would come in often with Trinidad doing all this stuff. And one
Mhm.
day my hair was straightened because my hair is always curly. And he was like, why your
Gorgeous.
hair straight? And I was like, oh, I had a photo shoot. And he was like, a photo shoot for what? And I was like, oh, I'm just taking my content seriously. Like, I really want to like put high quality content. So I
Yeah.
had partnered with a photographer. So anyway, he was like, okay, well, what else do you do? And I just sent him a few videos with me singing and stuff. And I was like, oh, I sing, I act, da da da. And he goes, come to the studio. And I was like at the studio like within a few days, and that's where we connected. Now, fast forward, the pandemic happened, all life went crazy, and we kind of like parted ways, but always kept in touch. And recently, like at the beginning of the year, or almost towards the end of last year, but I think the beginning of the year, me and my husband were doing an episode of our podcast and we mentioned Charlie Boy and we were mentioning Victoria Monet and like that
That's
whole,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh my mama, I look good. So we were talking
Yeah.
about that and how amazing that collaboration was and all that. And he goes, hey, do you guys want to have Charlie Boy on your podcast? And I was like, oh, absolutely. So he made that connection. And then,
Yes.
and we just started talking and we did get Charlie on the podcast, which that episode's coming out soon. But I was like, hey, we should try this music thing again. And he was like, I thought you were never gonna like come back around to for it clicking. And the rest has been history. We've been in the lab. It's been great.
I love. So it wasn't even a question. You knew you were going straight to the Mavens,
Oh,
basically.
1,000%. There was no question.
No
Yeah.
question at all. And for people again who don't understand, like the Mavens is based here in Dallas, Texas. And people don't. I don't know why, because we are top 4 in the nation of like entertainment sex. So people don't think about us,
Right.
Dallas, being a place for entertainers
Right.
and recording and musicianry. How has working with the Mavens affected your career as far as being a musician? How has it advanced you?
Oh my gosh, in every which way possible. I'm not gonna lie, before we got together, I had tried like working with one producer, just one off by myself, just
Mhm.
to see if I could create something. And it was so difficult. Like everything is so expensive. Like you have no idea how much really goes into this music world. Like there's still things I'm learning today, but coming in with the Mavens, I mean, they've just supported me so much, like down to us having a home studio, which is a huge blessing. We don't have to book
Huge.
studio time, which is great. So
Huge.
we have our own studio at the Mavens, and it has everything that you need. We have amazing writers, we have amazing producers, composers, we have everything, and they have been so supportive. They have given me the tools to do the things that I need to do that I would have never known that I even needed. So it's just a learning curve for me, and I'm learning a lot with this music because music isn't just music. The music industry is a business. So
It is absolutely. And if you don't have any idea of how to run the business, you're really going to get lost quickly. So
exactly.
I love that. And with that being said, interestingly enough, now I was slid your first single from somebody at the station, but before I'd already seen a clip it. Shout out to our girl Paloma Diaz because I
Ah,
was like, I saw y'all doing the choreo dance. I was like, first off, she is such a good dancer. I was like, oh my gosh, she does pick stuff up so quick.
I
But one
love
thing
Paloma. She's that girl.
she is so amazing, just gorgeous. Everything about her is a good time. So, and I've been saying, I was like, girl, we got to do some type of dance video or something or other. But that's
We
shout
gotta
out to
get together.
girl. Come on, girl, you gonna come next, okay? But one thing I really appreciated was that your first single, you made sure that it was both in English and Spanish. What was the
Yes.
importance of that for you?
Well, being Afro Latina, just being, first gen, and knowing that a lot of us are very Spanglish. Like sometimes we'll interchange words and stuff like that. But I think how I've shown up online consistently has been speaking in English. So I feel like I wanted to make sure that my current audience got a little bit of both. Now, with all my upcoming music, we have a lot of music coming up. There's going to be a lot of mix of some of them are going to be mostly English, some mostly in Spanish. There's going to be a mix of both, but it's always so important to me to make sure that my entire audience gets a little bit of my music and that they can relate and, understand. And if you don't understand, get on your Duolingo.
Girl, honestly, and that's literally, I was gonna say one thing I appreciate is especially being in a state like Texas. Granted, it's not as a mezcla like it is up in New York, but
Right.
you do get different chances to you can speak Spanish all day long if you really want to, because somebody out here is definitely speaking Spanish. Like in
Oh, for
Texas,
sure.
most people are bilingual, and if you're not,
Yep.
and if you're like me, I'm como la Selena because they'd be like ta 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 ta, but I can make it sound good every time. So don't come looking at me. With that being said, though, because I your most recent, like as of like midnight, you just
Literally.
had
Come on,
another
exclusive interview.
come on exclusive. You can do all your jobs with me. Don't worry. Um, you have it's fully Spanish. Do not look. I can't say it as good as you sounded because say
Tú
tú
no
no
estás
estás
para
pa'
mí.
mí.
Tú
But
no
you
estás
said
para
it.
mí.
You sound sexy when you say it, girl. So it's an absolute banger. I literally was so privileged because now that I did have to get an in with the station to hear because I had to hear it before everybody else heard
Yay.
it. I was like, yo, play that back. The vibes is absolute. I want to just dance all over my house, which I was like, have you thought about, because that was in full Spanish, have you thought
Mhm.
about doing like an English counterpart for it? that sounds like, how people do the transitions, but like the
Yeah.
transition, like the like listen what they're saying, moo, cow, moo.
Yes, yes, yeah. I always think about that. For I actually have one song that is not out yet that I actually did a full Spanish version and a full English version. So we
Yes.
definitely want to play with that. But shoot, if people want to hear a full Spanish version of "Tu no te pa mí," shoot, we'll get back in the studio and record
Come
it.
on, let's do
Oh
it.
shit! No, my light
Uh-oh.
went out.
They said, hold on, we're not ready for all this glisten. Well, that's okay, because also I'm like way over talking. I told you I was gonna talk too much on this one. So we're gonna keep it pushing. So one thing within El Barrio, we started a Spotify playlist. I call it Por Mis Primos because when I do my Sundays, I say it's for my cousins because usually
Yes.
we work every single day except for Sundays. With that, I will let everybody know that I went ahead and added Dímelo and Tu No Ta Para Me onto the list, but
Yay.
I wanted to know if you have any other recommendations that you're like, nah, for real, cousins, y'all absolutely have to list. Like, this has to be on the playlist. Like, doesn't matter the genre, whatever. Like, this song has to be on the
Yeah.
playlist. Have any
Yeah.
recommendations
Of my own music or of like other
of
artists?
anything? It could be whatever it is, because I got both your songs on there
Ooh.
already, so they're gonna have to listen to the playlist, obviously, to hear you.
Oh, I know this is such a like everybody listens to her already, but man, like she just inspires me so much because she's just herself. And this song is already kind of like older, I want to say, but I be jamming to this damn song so much. It's by Carol G and it's Gatúbela, and I just be like dancing to Gatúbela. I love it.
Yes, Carol G. We always go support, bro. She is a phenomenal artist. Like
Yes.
everything about her. So I absolutely will be adding it to the playlist.
Gatúbela,
Period.
it just makes you feel sexy, like Gatúbela
Girl.
vibes.
But see, that's what you was giving me. That's what you be giving me too, though. So you doing the right thing because it's giving full. Like I need a salsa with somebody in a sexy red dress. Like come through, do a little
Period.
dance. Honestly,
Yes. Yes.
period. Okay, so one thing I want to say, because I know there was something that you mentioned, and I want to advocate and affirm, if anything else, that you didn't want to just be a hub of education, you want to be a hub of inspiration. And I can affirm, as a Latina, as a PCOS baddie, as a person who
Yes.
appreciates the arts and appreciates a good hustler, you are absolutely a hub of inspiration. And I
Thank
am
you.
absolutely grateful to be a part of this with you. I want to note that if we can do an extended clip version of this at some point in the future, I would also be so honored and privileged to do that because I love to get in
Yes.
deep and get all the good stuff.
Yes.
But I do want to ask if you can share, we know what is coming up, what you want people to know, and the best way for people to support you and your movement.
So definitely things to look out for. Obviously the song "Tu no tapa mi" is out now. Go stream it anywhere that you stream. We also have my Dímelo official music video coming out on the 23rd. It'll be available everywhere as well. And also a special caveat to Dímelo, we are going to have a heels class to learn the choreo
I'm
coming
in.
up.
I'm
Yes.
in.
Yes, I got you. I got your entry ticket, girl.
Yes.
We're gonna have it on July 31st. It's like at 8:30 p.m. So it'll
Perfect.
be in the evening to make sure a lot of people can make it, and we'll be posting the flyer to that tomorrow. It'll go live on my page, so you'll have all the deets for that. Um, we have the Dimalo remix coming out soon, much more music coming out in the next like few weeks. So I'm super, super excited. You can also, if you're a PCOS baddie, definitely make sure to follow PCOS Baddie Club on Instagram and shop the website if you want some dope merch that's not boring.
Absolutely. We love something cute because I want to look cute too.
Yes, and manitas, follow me at Thalia M. Leblanc on Instagram and Thalia Leblanc everywhere else. Instagram didn't want to give me my full name, but that's fine. We beefing.
Haters. Luckily, they're still gonna find you because you're shining so bright they can't miss you. So, period. Thank you again so much for joining us here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in and staying all damn near 30 minutes. I told you I was gonna go over a little bit. My bad. Sorry, Reagan. I appreciate your time, everybody. We'll see you again next time in El Barrio with 97.9 The Beat. Woo!